Ester Saint. She made friends easily. Been in high school now, final semester for 7 or 8 weeks. Had her new adopted sister stay over this one Saturday night. Her name Deho. And their close friend, Raven, and her 13-year-old sister, Riley Grace. And they had 3 more girls. Let's see. They were Day's very special close friends from growing up in Chicago. That was Helen, Eve, and Chris. So all of them were enjoying pizza. The girls, well, Day and Raven and Riley Grace and Esther, they made the pizza. Helen, Chris, and Eve, they came a little bit later and they helped eat it. So they decided to do the carnival again. They had promised Riley Grace to go back to the carnival on the lakefront. And so they took Esther's car, and they took the car that Eve had arrived in. Esther had helped her secure a car, and she had some of her cousins check it out and make certain it was reliable. Oh, what they actually did, this was an old Camaro. They practically refurbished it to where it was running like brand new and looked new too. They corrected all the body problems. So they all went to the carnival and again had a great time. Esther bought quite a few tickets, but this time they didn't insist on everybody doing every ride, although I believe Riley Grace did. And the girls took turns riding some of the rides with Riley Grace. So before they left, a couple of the girls bought a pork chop and shared it because they just smelled so great. And they all had had some cotton candy. So they were walking back to the cars, and they were all talking about the school and boys and the different rides and how much fun they had had. And all of a sudden, 6 rather rough-looking teenagers stepped out in front of them, and one of them in the back, he remained a little bit farther back. He said something about, "We'd like to party with all of you girls." Esther had already sensed that they were there, and she had held her arms out, indicating for everybody to stand back. And so all the girls did pause as Esther approached closer to the 6 boys. And she said to him, "My name's Ester Saint, and whatever you boys are thinking about, you'd better get it out of your minds and leave before you do something that you're going to regret deeply." And Esther had changed her composure and facial expressions, which she always has a smile and innocent look about her, unless she's in what I would call military mode. And in this case, she looked very stern and amazingly intimidating. The one voice in the far back had paused, and he said, "You're Ester Saint? I've heard of you, and I apologize for this issue. We'll leave now." And he had no more to say. All six took off real quick. So the girls continued on, and nobody even talked about the boys, their little interruption in their evening. They got back to Esther's home, and Esther had prepared a really nice dessert for the evening. It was a waffle dish that she had made herself, and she had some ice cream that was high in fat, I believe, and she had made some hot fudge to pour into and over the ice cream. So they were all enjoying this dessert. It was really delicious. And then they heard Aunt Brandy coming home. It was getting late. Aunt Brandy was at the door. She opened it, and she didn't let whoever she was with, which was Jacob's song, the doctor. And she said, "I'm tired. I need to get to sleep. Thanks for a wonderful day." And she insisted that he leave, and the girls never even saw Dr. Song. So Aunt Brandy came in, saw all the girls enjoying a wonderful dessert at the table, and she quickly removed her coat, came to the table, and Esther had already prepared a dessert for her. So Aunt Brandy sat down and dug into it without saying too much, and she said, "Oh my God," she was thrilled at this dessert. She said, the best thing she had ever eaten. And Esther proudly said, well, she really believes she's a pretty good chef, and desserts aren't her strong point, but this is the best dessert that she can make. And she was flattered and thanked Aunt Brandy for saying that. So they're talking, and Aunt Brandy said, well, Jacob had taken her to Paris, and she had been on top of the Eiffel Tower, and it was really beautiful and seemed special, but she said it somehow, the feeling of excitement with them wasn't she had anticipated, especially since they were at the top of the Eiffel Tower, and she said something just seemed to be lacking. And she turned to Esther and said, "Do you know what I mean?" And Esther said, "I know what you mean, but I don't have an answer for it." She said, Esther said, relationships and people and love are very complex and can vary so much between individuals. She said, "But I do know what you mean." And so at that, Aunt Brandy finished the dessert and said, "Well, it's been a super long day," and she needed to go to bed because she started yawning. Day and Esther took her, or helped her go to the bedroom, and by that time, Aunt Brandy was yawning even more, and so they helped her take her clothes off and put her in bed. And on the way out of the bedroom, Aunt Brandy had already fallen asleep. Day said, "I sure hope I look that good when I'm her age." And Esther said, "Well, who wouldn't?"